You have written more than 3,000 songs.
Oh, at least. Well, I write all the time, and I've been writing since I was just a little kid. I started playing guitar when I was 7 years old, and I've been writing serious songs ever since. But I have published hundreds of songs and written more songs. I've every drawer, every box, in my basement, in my houses. I got songs stuck everywhere. I pull out a drawer to get some panties. I pull out a drawer to get some drawers, and I'll find a song in there. So, but that's just what I do. It's my therapy, it's my job, it's my joy, and it's like a poet, you know. Everything's a song to me. Anything that happens, any conversation I have, somebody will say something, I think, ooh, that's a good idea for a song.
And do you jot it down right away or put it in a tape recorder? How does that work?
Both. I just write all kinds of ways. I'll wake up sometimes from a dream and think, I better get up and write that down or I'll forget it. And I just will either write down a title or sometimes a melody will come to me. I'll put it on tape so I don't forget it. But usually the songs, the words and the music usually come at the same time. I'll just be thinking of something or have a good title, and I'll just think on that, and usually there'll be a kind of melody spin in my head, and before you know it, I've got a song. They're not all good. I would say I've probably written at least 3,000 songs. I've probably got 3 good ones out of that.
You once told me some time ago that you frequently are up very early in the morning. Which I think you called it the wee hours of wisdom.
Wee hour wisdom is what I always say. But I do. I wake up early. I'm one of those people that I don't require a lot of sleep. My dad was like that too. And the older I get, the less sleep I seem to need. I'm afraid I'm going to miss something, I think. But I'm just wired that way. I do nap off and on. You know, those little power naps that Bob Hope and a lot of those people talk about doing. But I just really love the mornings when everything else seems to be kind of quiet and the energies are kind of calm, and I'm up, and I just seem to kind of just grab things out of the air. It's just like there are things out there for me, and I just get up and do some of my best work before most people get up. There's a lot of those old sayings like early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I think there's so much truth in that. I think it just seems to be like the time that I absorb things more than I do when everything's crazy and the day is wore you out.
Is that the time when you're most spiritual during the day, during those wee hours?
Yes, it is. That's why I call it wee hour wisdom, because I really feel like I connect more to that higher wisdom, and I just seem to be able to get hooked into that, and great ideas come to me then, whether it's in a song or business ideas or just how to solve problems that's been bugging me. And, you know, it's like there's always a time for answers, and I get a lot of answers during that time.
When you wrote I Will Always Love You, and Elvis Presley was going to record it, and suddenly you said, whoa, no. Tell me about that.
Well, actually, Elvis loved the song. That was when he and Priscilla were having their problems, which I met her recently, and she told me that Elvis loved that song, and he had sung that to her on the day of their divorce. He said he kind of leaned in and sang a little bit of I Will Always Love You. Wow. And so she told me how much that he loved that song, because this was recently, we were doing some business. But during that time, it's no fault of Elvis, you know, he loved the song. But Tom Parker was in defense of Tom Parker too, Colonel Tom, his manager. You know, he made some wise decisions, evidently. So he knew what he was doing. But that goes back to that other thing, because Elvis was ready to record it. I'd told my friends and people that he was recording it, and they were in town to do the recording. They had invited me down to the session. And Colonel Tom Parker calls me the day before and says, now you do know that Elvis is recording your song, and you do know that Elvis don't record anything that he don't publish, or at least get half the publishing on. I said, really?
Which is to say he would have the rights.
He would have the rights, at least half of the rights to the publishing of the song. I said, I can't do that. This song's already been a hit with me, and this is in my publishing company, and obviously this is going to be one of my most important copyrights, and I can't give you half the publishing. Of course, that's stuff that I'm leaving for my family. And he said, well, then we can't record the song, and I was just heartbroken. I said, well, I'm really sorry, but I can't do that.
Well,
so
Dolly
I
Parton,
didn't.
That took guts.
Well, it didn't to me. It seemed to be the thing to do. It hurt me because I was so disappointed that I was going to have to tell my friends Elvis didn't record it. But I just knew that that was not right, and that was not, if it had been maybe, if I didn't have my own publishing company, had the song not already been a hit, it might have been different. But I couldn't give somebody half of a song that had already been #1, and that was, you know, was evident, had already proved itself.
Well,
so,
you had some redemption. Whitney Houston then,
well,
many
yes.
years later.
That's true. When Whitney recorded, I was like, oh, good, because now I own 100% of the publishing, 100% of the writing, and I did really well with that. But I didn't blame Elvis, and I didn't blame Colonel Tom either. It was a decision I had to make at the time, and I'm glad I did.
But when Whitney Houston recorded it, which made it a worldwide hit all over again, not only made you a lot of money, that's true, but also, as you yourself said, you said, hey, here it comes again. That really was a great song. My question is, Whitney Houston, African-American heritage, you from the mountains of East Tennessee, what went through your mind when it was Whitney Houston who brought the song back and made it again such a sensational bestseller?
Well, it was overwhelming. The way she did it, David Foster, who arranged and produced it, and Kevin Costner, who's the one that just, you know, wanted to do the song in the movie. But when I heard her sing it, because I'd always loved her singing anyway. I mean, what a voice she had. I mean, at that time, nobody could out-sing her. But when I heard it, my heart just stopped. I just couldn't believe that my little song, my little simple song that was written straight from my heart, you know, about a subject that we all know and relate to one way or another, whether it's someone that's died or kids going off to school. People relate to that song in so many ways. But anyway, when I heard her sing it, I could not believe it. I was driving at that time from my office in Nashville to my house in Brentwood, and I heard it when she started singing that a cappella. I thought, well, you know, I thought, what is, you know, if I should stay? And it took a minute to realize. And then when it went into with the music part where she said, and I honestly thought I was going to have a heart attack. It was one of the most overwhelming things.
It's been in print, in fact, fairly recently, this suggestion that because Judy, your friend from childhood, travels with you and has over the years, that there's something, quote, special. Have you ever talked to Oprah Winfrey about this? Because the same sorts of things have been associated with her. She has a lifelong childhood friend.
Her friend Gail.
Gail. Have you ever talked to Oprah about it?
Yes, we have. When I've worked on her show before, we've talked about that. Because people that don't have like a best friend, I mean a really true great friend, you said it right when you said something special with Judy, because Judy and I have been best friends since we were like in the 3rd grade. We went all through high school together, took all the same classes together, dreamed and talked together. She knew that I was wanting to be a star. She went to the military after we graduated because she's from a very poor family and she needed to do things for insurance and, you know, for some, and I said, well, I'm going on to Nashville, and when you get out of the military, I should have some of my stuff going, you know, by then. And so that's exactly what happened. I was just really getting going good. When she got out of the military, she came to Nashville. We picked right up where we left off, and we've worked together ever since. She tours with me all the time. She's like a sister and certainly the best friend that anybody could have. And there has never been any kind of a sexual relationship with us. I mean, there's just a true love. There are all kinds of true loves, and that is certainly one of mine, but it is truly just a great friendship.